There are so many amazing stitches built into the Bernina 880. And did you know there's actually a basting stitch? Now, this basting stitch is going to look a little bit different. And there's also a long stitch feature, and I'll mention that one as well. But basting stitch is actually your stitch number 21. And if you do the question mark and then touch stitch number 21, it's going to come up in reference that the machine is going to sew every fourth stitch, and that the longest stitch length is 24 millimeters long. So I want to show you what that actually looks like. Stitch length, it's going to go hop, 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 stitch. Now, it's not skipping stitches, it's just stepping over them. Now, right now, the default stitch length is 3.8 millimeters. So if you make your stitch length longer, the maximum stitch length on a Bernina 880 is 6 millimeters long. And that's where we got that maximum of 24 millimeters long. And it is pretty, it's going to be really easy to take out. So do keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and cut the thread here, and we'll take a look at those longer stitches that the basting stitch will allow us to do. So here's where the original stitches are. It's just about as big as my finger here, but when I really made it longer, you're going to see that that's almost, well, it is 24 millimeters. It's a very quick and easy stitch to then quickly clip if there's a knot at the beginning, but also to be able to remove easily, hence why we would be doing a basting stitch at all, is that it's easy to take out. Now, I mentioned a long stitch. So a long stitch can actually be applied to any stitch. So we can take your straight stitch, and a long stitch feature is in the eye for information, and then touch right here where there's two stitches. So what it's going to do is it's going to, well, not skip once again, but not stitch every other stitch. So here we can make a stitch length of 12 millimeters because it's 6 plus times 2. But watch what else we can do here. Watch this. So if you go to let's do the stitch 8 and then add a long stitch to it, it's going to stitch every other stitch. Actually, that's funny. That looks like a blanket stitch because it is. But let's go into one of the decorative stitches. I'm going to just randomly pick a stitch here. What would happen if we took a long stitch and applied it to that stitch? Do you realize that you have umpteen additional stitches that looks totally different? Because if you take out every other stitch, you're going to get something different. So let's just do this one more time just because it's hilarious. And you know me and decorative stitches. If you've looked at anything with our Stitching Cosmos online course, we do talk about things like this where we take stitches, add functions that are not what they're intended for, and use them to get additional decorative stitches. So take a look at all the links we have for you below this YouTube video. If you're curious about our Bernina Stitching Cosmos online course, we've got links where you can watch 10 of those videos for free.